it's great to be a hunter and go out there and constantly close deals, but it's a lot more profitable if you can farm, right? You can go get a customer and figure out what products that customer needs. That's easier and more profitable. And I think also you have more longevity.
On this new multi-part series of A Call to Leadership, I invite my co-hosts in arms, Travis Revelle and Sam Salah, back on the show to embark on a journey asking the question why startups fail. We looked at some statistics and some studies. We're going to break them down based on 3 different criteria. The first episode is going to be all about money. Why startups fail without money. Number 2 is going to be mentors. And number 3, people. Can't wait for you to listen in. I'm Dr. Nate Salah, and this is A Call to Leadership. Fellas.
What's up? What's up?
Hey.
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 Hey. The Fonz. I don't know if you guys remember.
No.
Happy Days.
I do.
Fonz.
Yeah. Some of our audience members be like, who?
What?
I didn't even realize, Henry Winkler. I always thought he was like some cool Italian dude.
Just some Jewish guy.
Just nothing wrong with being
Right.
a cool Jewish guy.
No.
But yeah.
Part Jewish, so yeah. No,
They played it off really well. And he was short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was like the absolute opposite of the Fonz. But he played it perfectly.
He did.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God.
Your knowledge on it's impressive.
I've got so much stupid knowledge.
Man.
He does.
Like I remember the Fonz, but I'm like, no, nothing beyond
Right.
that. Yeah, you're
Right.
Yeah.
Hey.
It's random. It's good for trivia night. If you ever want somebody to go to
Not
trivia
that guy.
night to you,
No, I will bring you down.
right. No, I got some weird. I don't even
Weird
know what
knowledge.
it is. It's just buried back in there.
So if the Fonz were to start a business,
Okay.
all right. And,
Leather jackets and white
leather
t-shirts.
jackets and white t-shirts.
That's his outfit. His uniform.
That might be the title of our podcast episode. If he were to start a business and he was probably going to fail, right? Because here's the stats. We know the stats are, right? Most businesses do fail in the first 5 years. You wonder why he would fail. And so I ran a report on a poll that was performed on top reasons startups fail. I printed out for you guys. And as you're looking through, we're going to go through some of these and with our audience and really kind of dissect aspects of these that apply, that you've seen in your own businesses and that you've seen outside, and start to put them together. The number one reason, which I don't think many people will be surprised about this, right, is what?
Capital.
Right.
Well, people and money are 2 things businesses never stop needing. So those are my first 2, right? Money can definitely be one, or I think you can interchange them, because if you don't have the right people, you're going to need money.
Cash, right?
You're going to need money. So they're directly
It's a
connected.
lifeblood. It's lifeblood, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Those 2 things are the lifeblood.
Yeah, businesses need money to grow. They need people to grow. A lot of times when you don't have the right people and your business is not profitable, you're floating to get to profitability, and that takes the right people. So some of these did surprise me. No market need, that's the one that kind of jumps out at me as like that 35% no market need. I mean,
38% was failed to raise new capital, ran out of cash, and then just behind it, 35%, which is when we look at this, like you shake your head like, okay, what's going on here?
I'm going to open a Blockbuster Video. That's what I was going to do. I was going to order a Blockbuster Video, and you guys didn't talk me out of it.
Open that franchise.
That's, and that really jumped out to me. And honestly, right, got out competed next at 20% also kind of surprises me, right?
Yeah, and this was a poll based on analysis of 111 startups post-mortem since 2018. So these are real businesses who were asked, hey, why'd you fail?
The no market need, I think, surprises all of us because
business plan,
SWOT analysis, just why did you pick this business? I get people have passion projects they want to do, but even still, there's always a market.
So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
You know what I mean? There's always a market. So
nobody goes in and says, I'm going to start selling like horseshoes.
correct, right? Like nobody does that. So I think number 2 and number 3 go hand in hand with each other, right? There probably was a market, but you probably did get outcompeted.
Amazon, there's a no more. I mean, I wouldn't say no market need. I would say bad market positioning. So if you're a brick and mortar selling, Tupperware,
Right.
you might take a hit
Right.
when Amazon sells Tupperware, right? Well, everybody takes a hit on Amazon. But
Yeah,
no,
because this doesn't have anything to talk about the marketing piece, right? When you say no market need, I mean, perhaps were you not in front of your market? I mean, we talked about this before, right? Business 101.
yeah,
Do I know what my customers want and need? Do I have the capacity, the capabilities to meet that need? And number 3, do I stand out in the crowd, right? It's 101, but I think people focus so much on 1 and 2, they just can't get connected.
Right.
yeah. I think that all the businesses that I have been a part of or know of that have failed have came down to these 2 things: people and money.
I mean, money is
Bad
number
leadership,
Yep.
not enough, leading from behind with CEO, principal, not involved with their leadership, kind of letting their leadership run the ship, which is maybe the wrong leadership, not acting when the results are not there. So the results are not where they should be, but you don't make the changes needed in order for your organization to succeed. Right. But it all comes down to me. These are the 2 major ones. But yeah, out-competed. It's kind of vague, like how define that. Not enough marketing,
Position, the timing, I mean, all kinds of factors. You could say the product quality. And here's the other thing is that historically speaking, we've generally cited the SBA that said money and management are the 2 umbrella, issues. And clearly, there's a problem. And the way I see it, I say, well, part of the money problem is that you mismanaged your expectations.
Correct.
Right? I mean, that's usually, and you think about it, let's walk it through. Okay, you're a startup. Or let me go back, like rewind, when we were all startups, right? Rewind the clock. Remember those days, right? You're like, I'll figure it out, right? You've got some ideas on business plans. You got some ideas on SWOTs, but it's like, okay, well, we probably don't have enough money. What are we going to do? We're going to do it anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, somebody listening is like, yeah, okay, that's me.
Right.
Right?
Find a way.
However, we don't always find a way.
Yeah. Sometimes you don't.
So the big question is then, okay, so what are some of the ways then that I can mitigate that running out of cash or failing to raise new capital? That's the number one issue. And before you say anything, I want to bring up something that we've talked about before is my son's business, right? He got into business and this is number one. He realized it pretty quickly on. It's like, oh, Dad, I need to go back to my business partner, because we played Shark Tank, because I don't have enough cash. And I said, okay, son, remember what I told you. This is not scientific. It's just what I've experienced being in this sector for the last 30 years. Is whatever you think you're going to need, minimal, double it and add another half.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I think the deal is too, right? Like, so one of the companies that I was consulting with recently, the owners, they had a definitely a get it done attitude, but they expected, right, like all of their employees to take less money because they were a startup. And they're like, oh, well, we're gonna get it done, right? And not everybody shares in that. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard to tell like a frontline employee, like, hey, you're going to make less money, but you're part of this huge thing, right? Like, and one day you're going to get, you're going to get paid back because they got bills to pay,
Right.
And so I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are so laser focused on one thing, you know what I mean? That they can't see the forest through the trees, right? And they don't understand what they're doing, or they're asking somebody to take a lower, pay or less compensation overall, right? Less benefits, all of these things. And it leads to high turnover, right? And then you spend most of your time recruiting, which is not something somebody goes into business to do unless you're starting a recruiting company, and you're behind the 8 ball.
So true.
So entrepreneurs usually, especially in the early stages, are reactive, not proactive. I mean, I think we could all agree on that.
100%.
Right? Because you're constantly putting out fires. You're thinking about, the 5-foot view, right? Because that's what's in your face, right? So being proactive is difficult, I think, especially for a new entrepreneur. It was difficult for me. Luckily, I had mentors that gave me some advice, good advice. But I remember being told many times, "Man, it's too reactive. We're moving too quick. We're not ahead of the ball. We're behind it.
Chasing it,
and it's a scary place to be, especially if you don't have the capital to get you to the next step to figure it out, right? And that's where I hear it all the time. The whole I don't know this. You hear guys say, "Oh, I'm taking on any debt. I just be debt free." Yeah, well, you're not going to be successful either. No. So, unfortunately, it takes money to make money. This is one of the truest things I've ever heard, right? You can have too little money. You can never have too much money. You can always pay it back, right? If you have access to capital, take it. Especially if you have a growth trajectory that's, you're growing a large organization. Markets, heads, products, inventory, receivables, and all these different things. You got to have money. And entrepreneurs that are afraid to take on debt usually fail.
Well, yeah.
Or they don't grow.
They don't grow. I mean, I look at debt as fertilizer, right? You can go organic, and it may take you 20 years, right? Or you can add fertilizer and increase. Now, of course, don't take the debt on with the impulsiveness of reactivity, right? So what I found, and I taught this course for almost 10 years. It was a capstone course for the undergraduate program in business, and it was essentially a business planning class. Mm-hmm. And the students were all mostly just W-2 employees, and they had ideas of business. So they start this plan based on an idea they have. And when they get to the financial piece of the business plan, week 5, they all realize after we run the pro formas and the reporting and all that they're losing money. I mean, just every single student is like, I'm bankrupt. I'm bankrupt. I'm bankrupt. Like, you see this big light
go off.
Yeah, like, you're bankrupt. That's right. Yeah. Thank you, Professor Salah, right? No. And they're like, well, we needed this week 5 to be in week 1. Like, now you're thinking like an entrepreneur who's going to get it done, right? Because that's not what the typical entrepreneur is thinking about. They're thinking about, oh, well, you know what? I'm going to have this product that everybody's going to love. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to be so fulfilled because I'm going to be following my dream. And you go through all these pieces. The very first thing I think about, can we monetize this?
100%.
What are the margins?
What does it look like? How many of these things do I need to sell to make X,
How much is it going to cost? Who do I need on the team? Like you said, not my cousins, my uncles, my family, my friend that needs a job because he's been out of work for 6 months and he just, look, I got to take care of somebody, right? No. Mm-mm. No, you fit the model based on the highest value of that individual's contribution, their genius zone, and their ability to solve that problem in that position, and build your margins to where you can bring on people who are A players.
Yeah. And the thing is right, the best way to take care, if you want to quote unquote take care of people, build a successful business first. That's the other thing I think that entrepreneurs, right? Because we all know entrepreneurs normally, right, they're starting their business, and that's how they have to pay their bills, right? And so a dollar can only be split so many ways.
Right.
And look, we've had companies together where we sat down at the end and been like, listen,
we can't take a paycheck this week.
One person,
next week, this month.
Right. One person can live really, really well off of this business, but 3 people can't. Right. So we got to make a decision, because you look at it and you're like, we just can't. We can't grow it fast enough.
Right.
Yeah.
To feed everybody.
Remember the sim business?
Yeah, 100%. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Right.
I'll just call it out. I mean, we were like, we're going to make a ton of money on these sim cards, right? And there was a possibility, but when we laid it all out, and we did do some market research too. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing about it: you can only make decisions based on the information you have at the time, right? You can make forecasts, and it's great. But then when you have market penetration and you realize exactly what this is going to do, then you can pivot Sometimes you have to shut down a division. Sometimes you have to go a different direction. And that's okay, right?
Yeah, I mean, but at least you recognized it and didn't keep drowning in it.
Right.
I mean, that's the key. You know, it's hard to give up on something you believe in, especially when it's not going to work out and you know it.
Yeah.
And that's your heart and your brain saying, "Hey, dude, it's time to cut your losses."
Yeah.
You know, that's the
gut check
difficult.
moment, right?
That's difficult, man.
That's the gut check moment. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs, right, they go in business because they have a dream, right? Their dream is product centric, right? And so if that product doesn't work, then they don't know what to do. Instead of going into it and saying, listen, I'm going to be an entrepreneur because of these things, right? These certain needs I have, right? Money, freedom, right? Like growing something, whatever it is, and finding products that fit inside that. A lot of people, like, I would never start a business just based on one product. You know what I mean? Like, I need to understand, okay, this is this product. Now, what's the life cycle of that product? What are complementary products that the same customer, right? I was doing this interview yesterday, and we were talking about, you know, saying the importance between hunting and farming, right? And, you know, it's great to be a hunter and go out there and constantly close deals, but it's a lot more profitable if you can farm, right? You can go get a customer and figure out what products that customer needs that are complementary in the ecosystem that I'm in, and I keep selling the same customer 5, 6, 7 times, right? That's easier and more profitable. And I think also you have more longevity because you're building a relationship with that customer, right? This could be one customer, it could be 1 million customers, you know what I mean? But you're building a relationship with that customer, and now you're servicing their needs. And really, the guys that really get it is they're looking ahead and they're saying, okay, here's what my customer needs today, and I'm going to fulfill that need. Here's what my customer is going to need 5 years from now. So I've got that product lined up. And I think this is where my customer is going to be 10 years from now. Yeah. Because then you get baked in, right? And then now you're that guy. And what I mean by that guy is we all like to be, you know, out at dinner and somebody says, hey, I need X, Y, and Z. And you're like, I got a guy. Right? I got a company. I've got you, right? Use my guy. Right. Everybody wants to have that guy.
Right.
Everybody can be that guy. You just have to sit down and think about put yourself in your customer's perspective and what do they need? And I think those are the best business owners. I think those are the best sales, you know, professionals to really understanding the customer's needs, fulfilling it today, but also knowing I've got 3 or 4 different products I'm going to keep selling the same customer.
I think you said something in the beginning that you know really hit home, and I think a lot of people who go into business, you know, they overlook, right? It's like you said, you know, a dollar can only be split so many ways, right? If you have to open a business and have to make money from that business right away, I don't think you should open it. I think you should wait till you can have a nest egg that you can live off of that's not coming from that. Because I went years without taking a paycheck from my businesses. Yeah, I mean, it was, I remember going through payroll at one point, you know, a long time ago in my early days and saying, oh, okay, this is payroll. Just enough to pay everyone except me. Mm-hmm. It seemed like that was always the case. It was just me. It's like there wasn't enough.
That's what Sinek's book, Leaders Eat Last, right?
Leaders Eat Last. Yeah. So, but you're okay with it because you're so proud. You know, you're proud of even employing people has a level of self-fulfillment, mm-hmm. right? You know, when you see families and people, you know, that are making money off your business and supporting families, that's a huge, you know, a huge benefit and a huge, you know, thing for me that I was always really proud of.
So somebody says this to you, right? You say, oh, okay, I get it, Sam, that's great. And we know people like this, say, but the market's going to pass me by. The opportunity is going to pass me by because if I just, and I'm in agreement with you because I've seen it and I know that clearly you need money, right? But what do you say to someone who says, I can't wait to save for a year or 2 years?
Get an investor.
Outside capital.
Like you know, I always say I invest in people, not businesses, right? Because that is where the business is successful or not successful. Mm-hmm. Obviously you want a viable product that you take to market, but who's taking that product to market, right? And if you have to go into a business and say, okay, I need minimum, whatever that number is, $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 a year just to get by, right? To not change my lifestyle for me and my family, right? And you know that you're going to have to take, so if your business, made $5,000 that month, that $4,000 will have to come back to you to just, no, you need to go to an investor that say, hey, look, here's $75,000 in capital for you for the first year. And then I'm going to, structure some kind of deal to get you the capital, take on a partner that can help you get to your goals. Because at the end of the day, dreams and ideas don't go anywhere without capital.
No, and there's nothing more gut wrenching, and we've all been there, when you wake up in the middle of the night in a cold sweat when you're about to not have money for payroll,
yeah,
or you're about to get kicked out of a property, or whatever it is that you can't afford your inventory. I mean, you can't feed your family.
Yeah, even more of a, and the thing is, you always hear the, I have to feed my family, or I got to pay for this, or I got to do this. Well, what got you to that point? Why can't you do it yet? Maybe you're 2 years in, 3 years in, 4 years in, 5 years in. You're still there, right? So now what's the issue? Why have you not put yourself and your family in a better position? Whose fault is that? Is it you for not recognizing you needed to make changes and be a better leader, or, have the better people working for you? You know what I mean? I've seen it.
Well, I think a lot of people, they may recognize that there's an issue, but they don't know how to fix it, right? And so I think that's why, we talk about mentors so much. I think they're super important. And if you don't have one,
get one,
right? And if you can't find one, we're here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why we do this.
Mentors from afar. That's what I call when you can listen in and you can learn from others.
100%.
And here's the thing about mentors. I'm glad you brought it up, because people are afraid to ask. If you show, like, okay, let's just, between the three of us, right? We're seasoned. There's people who we would consider mentees of us, right? Let's ask the question, do you have to have all your financial resources in place for you to take someone on as a mentee? In other words, they have to have, you have to have 3 years of financials and all this other stuff ready to go.
No.
What would you say is 3 of the top reasons why you would take someone on? Because it's your time. All of our time is extremely valuable, right? Yeah. What are the top 3 reasons when you see someone, they say, would I be able to be mentored by you, say for 12 months, once a month, just have a coffee, a Zoom call? What are 3 things that are non-negotiable? Cliffhanger, don't you love those? Well, this next episode with Travis and Sam will be part 2, and we will dig in on what kind of people A players look for to mentor. I think you're going to love it. I can't wait for you to listen in. I'm Dr. Nate Salah, and this is A Call to Leadership.